Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is my good friend David Morgan, the publisher of the Morgan Report and a huge legend in the silver industry. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me back. We'll see how many discouraged comments we'll get on Twitter this time. If you don't like me, why spend your time with me? But
You know,
thanks for inviting me. It's good to see you looking healthy. You've got the classic business look. I've got the rural, it's cold as heck and it snows thick out here look because it's cold as heck and it snows thick out here.
yeah, you know what? It's a huge pleasure having you back on. And, I'm so grateful having you on for the new year. And I wanted to get you on to talk about everything happening in the silver and gold markets. First, let's start off, where you think silver and gold, the precious metals market in general is heading in 2025.
Well, I think over the full year, it's going higher. But, we had some pretty good moves in silver and gold last year, as you know, Ivan, and we had roughly round numbers about 30% moves. It's interesting. The other white metals, I think platinum was down 7%, and I think palladium was off 13%. I like confirmation. I like to see all the metals moving, not necessarily the same percentage, but they're all moving up or down at the same time. But platinum and palladium are such small markets and they're really not considered money. So I don't really pay a lot of attention to them.
Right.
As far as where we're going, I think that we still have to digest or consolidate these gains for a couple of reasons. Certainly, we're not ahead of ourselves as far as long-term value is concerned for silver and gold to be valued relative to the amount of paper that's been printed. They're far from achieving their ultimate high. Having
Absolutely.
said that, they did move rather rapidly, so it may take some time to digest these gains before we start higher. And as you well know, with Trudeau, the political climate is changing rapidly. And I think a lot of people are more or less sitting on their hands until more of these unknowns are verified. And then they'll make a move, whether they should, increase their positions in bonds or equities or more reliable safe havens.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed it, David. It seems like there's so much instability in the world. You're seeing there so many people are talking online about, the repo crisis, the debt crisis in the US, Canada now, finance ministers resigning, prime ministers resigning. Like, what do you see for the economic landscape in general, I guess, across the US, Canada, and across the world as this debt crisis continues to ramp up?
This is critically important. And I've said it before, but it's so important. I should probably say it in every interview. We are in a mess. The global empire really is not going the way that the New World Orders want it to go. And what happens as the system starts to break down from a global empire, people everywhere and their nation states start to become more protective. And this is what you're seeing with the move toward populism across the planet. It's not just the United States, it's across the planet,
Right.
which means if you're growing a lot of wheat, for example, you're not going to just export it all and take dollars for it or rubles or the BRICS currency or whatever. You're going to actually think about how much wheat you have for your population.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use. So instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
And what your surplus is and how much you maybe need for a year's supply in case you have a bad harvest the following year. I'm using an example that really makes sense. So what you're going to see is more and more resource wars. You're going to see producers of real goods and services, particularly foodstuffs and metals, that are going to say, wait a minute, do I really want to get into the financial markets chit, token, piece of paper that represents value when in reality it doesn't?
Right.
I would probably be better off trading my silver for wheat or my iron ore for farmland or whatever. So I'm being a slightly extreme. I don't mean to be. What I'm trying to point out is that the global economy is contracting. The physical economy is not getting bigger and better. It's getting slower and less amounts. It's across almost all areas. And then where we see overproduction are things where people can't afford it. If you just study the auto industry and even a cursory level, what you'll find is what's called channel stuffing. Even out here where I live, which is pretty rural, there's a town north of me called Deer Park.
Okay.
So you got to name deer in the title of your town. You know, it's pretty remote. Next one is elk. So I'm giving you the feel. Deer Park probably has more cars and trucks in their raw acreage of land that they keep adding cyclone fences around to give everybody in the town 2 vehicles.
Wow.
That's how overstuffed we are in this area in the great Northwest. The point being is they've overproduced automobiles in the United States. And there'll probably be a markdown at some point to get prices low enough where people can afford them. But that's just an example, and there's many. You look at all of the corporate restaurants across the United States, and most of them are worldwide. I mean, Wendy's, KFC, McDonald's. I mean, all these restaurants, they're global
Yeah.
and they're contracting. People can't afford these things because the inflation has gotten so bad that a dollar doesn't buy. I remember the dollar value menu. I mean, that's a point in history. So I'll
Yeah.
give it
It's
back to
gone
you,
now.
Ivan. The point is we're contracting, not expanding. Yet the talking heads in the financial markets, as you and I both look at almost daily, they're singing a song that's wrong. The song is, happy days are here again. Look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Look at the S&P 500. Look at NVIDIA. Look at that. And then we got fart coin over here. Hey, things are great. And they're not great.
Yeah, no, you absolutely like it's spot on the way you explain that, David, because for all like there's so many new silver and gold enthusiasts and even just investors and just new people in the market, just because their dollar's depreciating so much, they're asking why and trying to just figure out just simple savings and a way to protect their purchasing power. What would you say to a completely new silver and gold investor that is, has been just saving their money in paper and fiat currency? What would you say to them? Would you tell them to get silver, gold? Would you tell them to get mining stocks? Would you tell them to get physical? What would you tell them as a first step?
All ego aside, and I did this from the head and the heart and was asked to write for the investing rules book probably 25 years ago now, Ivan, and it's called The 10 Rules of Silver Investing. If you just put in the or 10 Rules of Silver Investing by David Morgan, probably don't have to use my name, it'll pop up. It's all over the web. There's videos about it. I've done videos, I think, twice. And it's a good rule book for not getting burned.
Right.
If you're new or seasoned, how to not get a raw deal from your dealer and why dollar cost averaging makes the most sense. But for anyone out there that can afford to save, which is tough these days, but if you can, I would say, pay your bills in fiat and save in real metal. But
Yeah.
don't do it on oh, this is a low. I'm going to buy it now. I'm going to watch it go another dollar or two lower. The best thing is just to save like a good saver. I'm going to save $100 a month. I'm going to save $200 a month, whatever it is. Put that into real metal and don't worry about it. And dollar cost averaging does two things. It produces discipline. And it also gives you a psychological advantage in the market because you're not all worried about the daily or monthly ups and downs. You
Right.
know that when the price is low, you get more metal for your fiat. And the price is high, you're forced to buy less because it's a high price. So dollar cost averaging is what I think the average person, it's very much not talked about very often anymore.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of stackers out there, and I commend them all. And that's really the way to do it, especially if you happen to get a good deal. And as I say in the 10 rules of silver investing, you get a raw deal. Sometimes price isn't all it's cracked up to be. Of course, you want the most for your hard-earned money, but if the dealer's giving you a price that he cannot really commit to, and the package never arrives, now you're in big trouble. So there's a lot of things in those 10 rules that will help prevent a big mistake and will put you on the road to peace of mind, which really is why we invest in metals.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to be in a situation where we have more honesty and integrity in the system and I could put investments into things I believed in, maybe, cleaning up the air, getting more water, helping people in foreign countries that need industry. I mean, but the
Absolutely.
reason I don't do, a lot of that is because we're in uncharted waters and we don't know what is going to be viable in the future. You have a very good business, but because of the debt markets and you went too much in credit, you're not able to service your loan, and all of a sudden you're out of business. Things are topsy turvy, and you hear me say it every time, but that's why you've got to be prepared for a time when you'll be very grateful that you have precious metals to rely upon.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And people are talking online about, interest rates. The Fed, if they do lower interest rates, you're going to see a weaker US dollar and higher precious metals prices. But at the same time, people are also saying online about, how can the Fed lower interest rates when inflation gradually keeps going up and up? And I know the official numbers that they put from the government are not how what we see. Like they say it's 2 or 3% or whatever it is, but you look at your insurance prices, you look at your grocery prices, and it's a lot higher. So what do you think the Fed is going to do? Are we going for lower interest rates and a weaker US dollar, or what do you see happening there?
Yeah, you said a mouthful. First of all, I've been asked, and it's an honor to be asked, and I, of course, accepted to be on I guess, the committee for the Citizens for Sound Money. John Williams is also one that's on that committee.
Right.
And he said to one of our first group meetings that the true inflation rate based on the CPI was calculated in 1980 is about 8 points higher than the stated. So if you take 3%, you add 8, you got 11%. That's the real inflation rate.
Wow.
Point number two is the administration wants a cheaper dollar. How do you make a dollar cheaper? Well, you race to the bottom. You make it worth less. How do you do that? You make it cheap. So you lower interest rates. I think that's the direction that they're being forced to go or maybe want to go.
Yeah.
However, markets have a mind of their own. And at some point, you could get in a position where, in order to save the bond market, the treasuries get bid higher and the interest rates go up because of the market forcing it higher rather than the political class or the financial class deeming that such and such is, what we want the market to do. Really, the Fed sets the discount window. I mean, they have control over some of the rates, but once we're out in the open market does have some strength to basically move things. Not nearly like they did when I was your age, because there's been so much intervention to the money center banks and the political favors that are passed back and forth between the political class and the financial elites. But nonetheless, the market still has some power, and that could come to the fore, Ivan. So you could have a week where you get a official proclamation that we're going to lower interest rates on the next FOMC meeting, and yet 3 days later they go up, 50 basis points.
Hello, my fellow silver and gold stacker. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the channel. Subscribe, please like the video, and also hit the notification bell. Keep stacking. Yeah, no, it's a crazy outlook for 2025. There's so much chatter about, something's about to crack, whether it'll be central banks, whether it be the real estate commercial market, whether it'll be something. But a lot of people are keeping their eye on that. What is David working on in 2025? Where could people connect with you as well before you head out? Where could people connect with you? Where could people follow you? And yeah, what are you working on for 2025 in the precious metals market?
I really almost finished the documentary, silversunrise.tv. I urge everybody to go over to silversunrise.tv and watch some of the trailers there. We've got Jared Griffin, who wrote The Secrets of Jekyll Island. We have myself. We have Foster Gamble, did Thrive 1 and Thrive 2.
Wow.
We've asked some notables that backed out, that didn't want to or couldn't do it because of timing issues. So that should be out the first quarter of 2025. That's more of a spiritual look at money, which I've been thinking about for the last decade. And so it goes into that somewhat, why money has so much control over us, why we have so much emotional ties to money.
Right.
What's more valuable, a strong relationship, integrity, living your word or how much it can be bought for, i.e., the Congress critters. So there's a lot in that movie, Ivan. It's being edited now, which is the hard part to put it all together, but it should be out. So that's number one. This is sort of, I wouldn't call it my swan song, but almost. I mean, rather than write another book, because no one reads anymore, but a film, if it's done right, can resonate with a lot of people. And I'm not trying to even take sides here. Of course, I'm an honest money, sound money advocate.
Right.
But if you said with one word, what do you want for everybody more than anything else? The one word would be freedom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's it. As far as getting on the website, we put it very easy to get our free report. Just go to themorganreport.com and there's two boxes. Put in a first name or an emoji. I don't care what you put in there. In the second box, put in a valid email. The autoresponder will ask you to validate that that email is valid. And then you get on our free list. We put out all the interviews like this. We give discounts. I should say well, we give good prices from some bullion dealers
Okay,
that we
nice.
associate with. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, you want to be on that list.
And what's the website for the TV again, the documentary?
Silversunrise.tv, all one word. Silver Sunrise.
Okay,
TV.
everyone watching, I highly recommend please go check out the Morgan Report. I'm going to put the links in the description below so everyone can check them out. David, again, it's such a huge pleasure having you come down to Wall Street Silver. Every time you come on, it's so nice because you get, another outlook on the silver and gold market. It's a breath of fresh air. So yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming down to Wall Street Silver.
Well, Happy New Year's to you, Ivan, and everybody watching. And I really wish you be happy, joyous, and free. And let's love each other, man. Let's come together. Let's not be red, blue, and green and purple. Let's
Right.
just be people and let's see what we have in common and less about what makes us different. Because really, at the end of the day, we, the people, really hold the power. It's just that we have to unite again, not in every aspect, not on everything. Differences are important, but we want to look for what really brings us together more than what separates us.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed it, David. I agree with you 110%. Everyone watching, thank you so much for watching us. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And again, David, I'd love to talk to you soon.
Thank you.